Hello, guys, and welcome to a new series called What If Civilization Started in the USA? Um, Here I have a map of the 50 states. Um, they're in the right location, I think. I hope. Um, the map is a little distorted, yeah. But, yeah, it's a new series. And you guys voted on doing this, and Furious WICSO might still stay. I'm not too sure about that, but yeah. So let's get started in this. And we're going to start right about here, where we see. Actually, we're going to start off right over here, where you see the first civilizations sort of set up. They're kind of in the Appalachians, so their technology is very limited. However, I do believe there's rivers around here. I'm gonna try and get a river map with the 100 the top 100 largest rivers or so. But yeah, so you see the red team become the first nation to set up. They kind of know a bit more than just this, but this is the only area that they actually have mapped out. But like, they only know about this much, so not a whole lot anyway. However, they also know that the water kind of flows down to the lowest possible point, and that lowest possible point takes them out here. And they just keep following this river because it's really their only form of navigation. Some people also want to follow the mountains, so we see them also here. And at, at first, there's not a whole lot of people here, but it starts off maybe there's only 1,000 at most. After a couple years, that number grows much larger, and we see it reach about to this population. We see him reach out to about here with a much larger population and capital city. So that's very good for them. So we see them kind of expand out around here and more, but they finally get someone to lead their nation. They get a king because, like, I mean, that's just kind of how things go. You start off with a king and you evolve into more. So we see this king take power, and he's like, alright, so you know how we kind of expanded? We're not doing that anymore. We we need to figure out what's around us before we actually take it over and claim it as ours. We don't even know if there's other people around. And they get to about right here before, what do you know? There's other people around. They run into this group of other people right here and right here. And these people have been around here much longer than the red team people have. Um, in fact, these two people look similar, so they eventually begin to realize that the red team people were actually just blue team people who got lost. So some, there's stuff going on. But the blue team hearing about this is like, hey, you guys are our people, so we should take your territory, right? Because unity, we are one persons. We are together one person. But the red people, they're like, no, we've kind of got our own thing going on. The blue team capital's all the way up here, but the red team, they're like, they kind of figure out that it's not just the blue team. Blue team didn't quite realize, but there's actually another team just a bit further to their north, the yellow team. We're gonna use this kind of paler, bright yellow. But yeah, so they run into another like tribe of people that's out here. These guys are the newest. Like they've been around less time than the red team has. But whoops. But yeah, they're kind. They're still trying to figure out how to stuff. We see the blue team now can expand up along the border of the red team, and hostility between these two continues to grow. But the yellow team is also made up of people from the blue team, so the blue team doesn't really like them either, and the red and yellow teams kind of get along a bit more. However, trouble begins to brew in the red team, as there is a group of people furthest in the north from the blue team that, one, don't really like the idea of no expanding, and two, do believe in a union of blue people, the people from the blue team. So that's going to start becoming more and more of an issue until finally we see the green team form out of the red team up in the north. During this time, we do see the blue team start to expand out a bit more. They start especially expanding around their capital. The yellow team still hasn't set up a capital yet. They also expand out quite a bit right in here. They don't really go too much further north as this area starts getting kind of swampy and hard to live in. However, they do realize that resources are a bit more plentiful, so they do try and claim some of this land, although they really can't explore much yet. Back to the red team and green team. We see the green team continue to take a bit more land here, but before they can get to the capital, they're like, "Hey, we need to actually set ourselves up. There's another kind of major city up here in the north where this kind of started," and they're like, "We'll make that our capital." So that's exactly what they do. And now that the green team's actually set up as a nation, we see them begin to invade into the red team. And they do this with the blue team, similar to how the green team there's like they're pro they're pro unity with the blue team. A lot of people down in the south are as well, so we see that kind of play out this war. The red team, realizing they're kind of trapped, will firstly try to expand out here, but it's not going to work too well. So we see a large group of people, along with the king, flee down to the south. They lose the green team in the mountains, but they also kind of get lost themselves, and until they find yet another river, probably like right over here, and they follow it down. Along the same time, though, the blue team is exploring along the coast because coast is like beneficial. But we see the red team now set up again, back over in here, but up in the north, they're completely losing this war. A new a new person is put into power as king. They they elect they elected him, But very quickly after, the capital is captured, and we see the red team here will get split in half by the green and blue teams. We don't really see a peace treaty taking place, but these two countries are kind of like they're figuring out what's to go on. What do they do with the people here? So they kind of just hold on to these properties or properties, whatever you want to call them. About this time, we see the yellow team learns how to like adapt to this swampy area, and they move in up here. They still stick along the coast, but yeah, I'm getting doing this a bit more on a smaller scale. So, right, and we see the yellow team move up into this territory. Like I just said, sticking along the coast. They do take this full peninsula over along the coast, but not some of the interior, not quite yet. They're a very coastal nation. They can like they use fish to survive, and yeah, there's not really a whole lot they can do here. They discover right up here, and they're getting close to the Delmarva. Back to the red team, though, they've explored quite a bit more area, almost meeting up with what the blue team has down here, but not quite. And we see them taking over a much larger area now that they're free of the blue team, and almost everyone here is supportive of the king, although not at this point. It's now no longer the king's no longer in power. He's just kind of it's his son. But eventually, during an exploration down here between both the red and the blue teams, the two teams, the two groups meet up with each other, and it does not go well again. Hearing of the red team escaping down south, they kind of already knew, but still, the green team will expand out towards them, and we actually finally see a peace treaty be drawn here, so we're gonna see what that looks like. Alright, so here we have the peace treaty. I also did add some provinces, which for now, as of right now, provinces were originally just used to divide up the area so that it would be split between the green team and the blue team, and ended up actually being given some of it to the red team. Um, then the green team realized this would be kind of useful internally. They could it could help them like, divide up their nation, and even though they're like based on unity and stuff, like it just helps them have a bit more control. Um, the provinces of the red team, other than up here, were divided up based by like how similar they are to one another, not necessarily like following borders or like natural features or anything. And then the green team just kind of based them more off population. Speaking of, I did add in major cities, provinces. So the Yellow team isn't actually the most populated, despite having more major cities. It has four in this country. Um, but this is just because a lot of this area is more swampy, so settlements that tend to become a bit more major. Whereas like with the blue team, population's a bit more spread. Same with the green team, the red team. See, but right here we have the blue team getting this. They get a major city. The green team is getting this. Which actually I'm now realizing that this would all be green. Let's put that then. There. So it's green. That's part of the green team. This part here is also part of the blue team. And the red team does get this bit of land. They kind of forced everyone who wasn't for pro for the Union. They kind of forced them all right into here. These two pieces could go to team two. But the red team sees that and they're like, okay, so we still have a bunch of people over here, and we gotta connect up with them. So they spend a bunch of money exploring this area until they have it all this explored, and then they start to move in, and they eventually do reconnect with their territory that was up here. They also claim quite a lot along the borders of the red and blue team, but or the green and blue team, but oh well. You can also remove this capital. And yeah, that will actually do it for today's episode. Unlike with my previous 3 or 4 series, I'm gonna actually keep these videos a bit shorter. So yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.